Welcome back. All right, so Sunday probably going to be a relatively quiet day, hockey-wise, because September 5th, right? Labor Day tomorrow, long weekend, and all that wonderful stuff. But of course, yesterday we were all talking about the Montreal, Carolina, Arizona deal and how all this worked out. And it kind of ends up being a three-way trade, even though it's not. Kotkaniemi, of course, going to Carolina. Carolina gets the guy they wanted. And now the debate starts, right? So in Kotkaniemi, it's the younger player between he and Dvorak. Dvorak, you've got more of the complete picture of what he's going to be. Christian Dvorak is a two-way center who has some very good defensive numbers. And you can make the argument that he's a number two center. Suzuki, is he a number one center? That's the debate we're going to have going into training camp and throughout, you would think, the early part of the season. But Dvorak's the player that Montreal gets. It's a lower cap hit than Carolina's paying for Kotkaniemi. Carolina pays that cap hit for Kotkaniemi to get him away from Montreal and, bring him in to play with their young core with the idea that it'll improve Kotkaniemi's game, and it should. And so the 2022 third that goes to Montreal from Carolina is still there. A first round pick is going to Arizona, and it is the first round pick that is the better of the two. So if Montreal finishes outside the playoffs and it's a number 14 draft pick, then that's the one that ends up going to Arizona, because you've got to think Carolina at least makes the playoffs this year, right? But if they both make the playoffs, and then it's, if Montreal drafts 20th, Carolina drafts 22nd, that 20th pick would then go to Arizona, as well as a 2024 second round pick from Montreal. That's Montreal's own pick. Now, if both of their picks are in the top 10, there's, I believe it shifts to the year after that they get the Montreal pick. But in all reality, these teams aren't both picking in the top 10, so I don't even think that's a chance of being used. I can't see it. But yeah, so I think both teams come out ahead. Arizona wants all the draft picks. For Montreal, they pick up a center who's cheaper and better defensively. And the thing with Dvorak is he kind of now replaces what Dano was with more offense. So he can win faceoffs, he can play the defensive game, and he had 17 goals last year, whereas Dano had 5. So in the end, I think all three teams are happy with what they got, and we'll see how things go this year. Arizona has a plan to have all the draft picks by the time we reach next June, and Montreal wants to stay in the playoff picture. Carolina sees Kotkaniemi as another addition that can maybe push them closer to being a cup contender. And it'll be fascinating to see how all this turns out this year. In signing news from yesterday as well, Libor Hayek has signed a 1-year extension with the New York Rangers. It's a two-way deal. At the NHL level, it will pay him $874,125. If he's in the AHL, it pays him $70,000. That is a huge difference. Hayek spent most of the year at the NHL level last season, so he should be paid more towards the $874,000 than the $70,000. So that's one fewer in the restricted free agent market. Dahlin's still right there, but not signed yet. And training camp is about 10 days out, right? So some of these free agents that are still out there, the restricted variety, will they show up in camp? Will they not? And for Carolina, who sit over the cap with Kotkaniemi, Don Waddell's already said now that Jake Gardiner is headed to LTIR for, I believe he said, back and hip issues. So with Gardiner being on the LTIR, that puts them under the cap. So Carolina doesn't need to do anything to get underneath the salary cap. With Gardiner's money headed to the LTIR, and there's Kotkaniemi, good to go down the middle. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. Does this help Montreal more? Does this help Carolina more? And if you look at it from a long-term perspective, I still think Kotkaniemi's got a lot of potential to be a lot better. The numbers at the NHL level haven't been great yet. but I think he has that potential, and he's only 21. So, believe he's 21 now. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how all this pans out this year, and how many pretty good draft picks Arizona gets in a draft that's pretty darn deep. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, who won this whole three-way thing up? Is it Arizona wins, Montreal, or Carolina? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.